Everybody, thanks for joining us today. Good morning, September 2nd. So we have our August and numbers are in. So I thought we'd go over those today. I'm still a little new to some of the streaming here, so bear with me. But I am going to try to share my screen so that we can take a look at these numbers together. Hopefully my sound is a little bit better too. Yesterday it sounded a little funny. So again, just bear with me on some of the technical details, but thanks for joining us today. We'll try to do this at 7 or 7:30 a.m. I'll try to get more consistent as I try to set these times up. But be sure to like and subscribe and hit that little bell if you want to be alerted when I do this every morning. If I'm traveling, I probably won't do it. But if you see me missing, that's probably why. But let's go ahead and get right into our numbers. I'm going to attempt to share my screen here. Let's see. Let's see here. Hopefully we're sharing a screen. Let's see. If I can't get this figured out, we're gonna, oh, it's down here. It's like Zoom. Okay. So let's share screen. Screen sharing is easiest with 2 monitors. I've got 3, so we'll see which ones end up coming on there. So bear with me as I learn this here. So I'm going to do this screen here. Okay, so I think you're all seeing my screen. Let's make it a little larger. You don't need to see me. I thought we'd look at, let's take a look at the actual numbers first here for Monterey County. What we can see here, very interesting story here in Monterey. We can see I got all 3 of the MLSlistings.com counties that we're kind of active in is Monterey, Santa Cruz, and San Benito counties. And then we'll get to San Luis Obispo County after we review these. So let's take a look at August. So we're doing a side-by-side between August and July. We had 173 closed sales. So you see the sales are still trending pretty much the same as they did the month before. This market slowdown you're hearing about in other places, or the one you might have been expecting or hearing on the news, hasn't been happening. So we're still seeing brisk activity. It just shows a lot about our local areas, about the economy in general in our area. A lot of activity for sales. So our median price did dip a little bit, 830,000. That's a little rough to compare month to month, whether it goes up or down, but it does show you where the median sales price is. That means half the homes sold for higher than that, and half the other half sold for less. And the median days on market was 19. So that again is a very common trend we're seeing on all the days on market. They're all trending upward. And that is something to note between month to month. So in July, it was 14, and now in August, it's 19th. On my dailies, I look at the average days on market, but this is another way to look at it. So new listings on the market in July, we had 229 people come on in Monterey, and 248 come on in August. So quite a bit of a difference there. Look at the percentage of list price. Now, this is again showing a very important trend in our area. A percentage of list price was in the last few months prior to the interest rate hike was well over 100%, 103%, 105%, 108 in some months. So what did that speak to? It spoke to all the bidding wars we were having. Those are now gone. So we're not seeing as many bidding wars unless a home is priced at or below market. We're not really seeing multiple offers on them. But look at the 98% of list price. So that shows that we are seeing some concessions being made on price and offers being accepted below the asking price. So if a seller puts their home on the market, you might anticipate a little bit of negotiating when you see a number like that at 98% for trending. So this again is a county-wide number. So you don't want to look at it in sort of that macro level of the county. You want to look at it on your neighborhood, your area. Even as we get into some numbers here, you'll see the areas are broken down into many smaller areas. For example, in Monterey, of those 173 homes that sold, the majority were in maybe South County or Salinas. So that gives you an idea of, each area might have a little different percentage to asking price, percentage of list price received. So let's take a look at Santa Cruz County. Their median sales price is obviously much higher, 1.25, going up in August to 1.3. Again, you can't really look at it on a month to month because it's just a median price of the homes that were on the market at that period in time. But it does speak to just the overall prices in Santa Cruz. Expect to pay a higher price for a single family residence. So closed sales 145, that's up from 119. So we're seeing an upward trend there. In August, we also saw 18 days on market, but notice there again, here's an interesting thing to note. We're going to see it across all the counties. The days on market went from 14 to 18. So now that sounds pretty fast. Even Monterey County, 14 to 19. It just shows there's brisk activity when a home is priced right. It should go relatively quickly. So percentage of list price, even in Santa Cruz County, has gone from 102% down to 100%. So that's a telling story also. This is a county that really, until this month, had resisted dropping to the 100 or below mark in the percentage of asking price. So very important point there to note in Santa Cruz County. So even we're starting to see some concessions and a slight softening in that market as well. All right, so let's take a look at San Benito County. Now, San Benito is a little smaller, but it's a high. It's got some numbers. It is part of. It includes Hollister, San Juan Batista, and some of those outlying ranch areas there. But you can see their closed sales did dip in August down to 25. The median sales price came down. Median days on market to 30. So this is a good point to make because sometimes you might want to lump San Benito in with Monterey County or maybe even Santa Clara County and just make it its own MLS area, if you will. But it just shows kind of you've got to look at each micro area in itself and don't look at a whole county. So again, get with your realtor. Give me a call if you don't have anybody. And we really want to look at your area, your town, your neighborhood, your MLS area and how you're valued and get a real snapshot of how this is trending for you. So in your area or where you're shopping, even if where you're shopping, if you're a buyer, you want to look at that area and see how it's performing. So we see 99% of list price received. Again, that's kind of across the board. Again, below the 100 mark, which we have seen this in San Benito County for a while. So let's go ahead and move over to let's take a different look of these numbers here. I wanted to do this. Let's see if I can zoom this in here for y'all so you can see it a little better. So here you've got Monterey County statistics. So of about the 208 homes that sold, the average days on market was 33. So that's taking an average, not a median. See, the median was a lot lower, but we could see the average was 33. So that just shows us in Monterey County, when you take an average of numbers and not a median, it does look a little different. But what I wanted to note here was just, again, just to make the point of you want to look at each area individually. We're going to take a look at the by market area report, and then I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And I want you to see why this is important because, we'll look at the county numbers and say, oh, well, everyone should be negotiating because they're getting 98% of asking price or 99% of asking. Yes and no, because you want to look at each area. See, these are all the different areas that made up Monterey County. And I'm just using this as an example, and you can do this in each county, each area. But so you can see Prunedale had 12 homes sold. That's what this 12 indicates here. And you can see their closed price was a little bit below ask. So again, their number would be down. But you see most areas are down. See their percent asking price to list price. But look at Sherwood Gardens. Theirs was up. It was higher. So, their average price. So they were getting a percentage above asking price in that area. So again, you've got to look at each area. Look at North Salinas, 849,000 was their median list price, but the median sold price was 860. So again, you want to look at each area because you don't want to be misled by maybe a general overall view of a county, like, oh, well, this speaks to the whole county. And that's why it's dangerous sometimes to guide your decisions on your particular property or your purchase or your sale based on what you're hearing on the media, because they're not going to dig into the areas like this. Even a Zestimate will take, you can see they'll take broad numbers and throw them into your Zestimate. So that can, or Trulio, or all the other big brands. Now you always want to look at them all, get all their numbers, including your realtor's numbers, and compare them all. Why not? But again, I just wanted to dig in on this just to show why you want to look at each particular area that you're talking about or that you're thinking of buying or selling. So let's go ahead and just real quick, I wanted to note, you can see that South County was where the volume was. Look at Greenfield, they had 12 sold homes. King City, Pine Canyon had 10. I bet you if I get to Soledad in here, it's going to have a high number here. So they had some of the higher volume activity in the month, which was quite the opposite of what we saw a year ago. A year ago, there was 0 homes for sale in South County. It was very hard, well, not 0, but it was very hard to go show a buyer a home down there because there wasn't anything for sale. And then you got Prunedale, Moss Landing at 12. So those were your high volume areas. And of course, all of Salinas, and it's kind of broken up into other areas. So that's always the highest, one of the highest volume areas in the county. So they're kind of right up there with Carmel in the terms of volume. Okay, so that kind of covers a little bit about Monterey County, but I also wanted to get into San Luis Obispo County. Let's take a look at that. And let's get into the overall numbers. Just show you that. I'll zoom in on this for you, just to make it easier to look at. Okay, so San Luis Obispo County had about 265 homes close in the last month. And you can see the median price was 810,000, and that was above asking. So when you look at these numbers, that shows a brisk activity and a percentage above asking. So 799.50 was the asking price, and people were getting 810 on that. So if you divide that 810 by the 799, let's say, or even the 800, we'll just round that up. So 101% of asking price essentially is what sellers were getting. And you can see when you compared that to the Monterey County numbers that we saw, those were trending at 98, 99. Everything was kind of at the 100 or lower. So San Luis Obispo County trending right about the same. So not too bad there. And then if we go to the market areas and take a look at those, again, this is where you see the micro level of everything and where the volume is. So we can see Atascadero, pretty much one of the higher volume areas with 27. Why is that? Well, this could be affordability, right? People were looking for the bargains and affordability, and Atascadero delivered 27 of those last month. Then you had Napomo, 25, another high value area, with decent pricing. So that's another one to consider. And then, of course, Paso Robles dominating at 36 there. And you saw San Luis Obispo, of course, which is always one of our higher volume areas, is at 48 for San Luis Obispo. And again, look at their median price, 931,000 of asking. So again, if we do our little quick calculator, so 931 divided by the 919 or 920, let's say, so 101%. So they're getting 101% of asking price. So again, even within San Luis Obispo, you can drill in a little further into each neighborhood and analyze that to see what the neighbors are doing, what has sold. And you wouldn't be going back 30 days, let's say, which is what we've done. Appraisers will go back even 6 months. We'll just maybe do 3 months. When we're looking at pricing your home, just to keep you current with the current market. Going back further than 3 months, you might be looking at numbers that are skewed from a different time frame. We've seen a lot change because of interest rates. So maybe you want to look at the last 3 months of activity when you're comparing your home. And this is where Zestimate can sometimes throw you off because their algorithms, I'm not sure if they're programmed at 30, 60, or 90, or maybe even 6 months going back to pill activity. So that might be a challenge. It's a little easier in the suburbs where every home there's a lot of similar homes. But in some areas where the homes aren't similar and they aren't cookie cutter, as they say, those might be a challenge. So anyway, so let's see. I think that's what I wanted to cover for us today. Thank you for joining us. Again, if you appreciated this information, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button. There's a little bell next to it also if you want to get alerted to when I do go live like this. I appreciate you coming on. We've had some great questions. We'll try to deliver some answers on some of the questions next week as we get back into this. So hopefully you enjoyed that. And thanks again for coming, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.